We have to imagine and allow ourselves to perhaps dream a little bit. We dreamt at some point that one day, if you were the traditional kind of daughter of an immigrant, that one day we would get married and have children, get that trophy of whatever scholastic achievement that we wanted to get. So why can't we now dream even bigger? Have the courage to redefine yourself. The courage to redefine means that you might have to leave people, ideas, businesses behind, that you have to be able to grieve the death of ideas, relationships, dreams that you once thought was going to be that end for you. Instead of thinking that it's a death, we can reframe that to be in more alignment of the path that we want to walk in now. And that's only defined by you. Hey loves, do me a quick favor and hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you are tuning into this. It helps grow the show more than you know. Thank you so much again and enjoy. Today, we are talking about how to brave your career and some of my hot takes on a topic that has rung so true for me in so many years that I have been iterating, and I still continue to iterate. I mean, I am the queen who've written this book. That sucked. Now what? How to embrace the joy and chaos and find magic in the mess. And since this, I was actually thinking back in preparation for this episode and really thinking back my journey, because 7 years ago, I started, well, actually, even a little bit more than that, maybe 8 years ago. Now, I started my journey becoming an author. Before that, I was a cosmetic dentist. So I drank the Kool-Aid of this kind of proverbial idea and notion of the traditional and conventional trappings of a career. And what I attempt to bring you today is when to have the courage to redefine yourself. Listen, we're not meant to be in a box, in a cage of maybe the corporate ladder, or maybe that was great for you when it was. And now you are thinking of a different dream. You are thinking of a different way to do things. You're thinking of a different way to live. This wasn't possible when our parents were raising us. This wasn't possible if your parents migrated or immigrated into the US. I'm a child of immigrants just like you. And I think a lot of times our parents put so much pressure, and I see it in a lot of the moms and the moms groups that I'm in. They put so much pressure on their kids, especially if they came here to have a better life, especially if they've come here from a different place. And I remember this so vividly. God bless my parents and all of my caretakers growing up, but they only knew what they knew, right? And so I think the onus then becomes on us to get educated and unschooled and unravel in ways where there are things that we will have to go up against the grain for. We will have to question, what kind of a life do I want to lead? What kind of a life do I want to live? And am I meant for more? Am I meant for more in the confines of these walls and of my practice that I had built, that I had invested in, heavily invested in, that I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in my education, that I'd invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in my practice, that to investing not only in the infrastructure of something that was a brick and mortar. And I learned so many valuable business lessons. But at this point, I was ready to spread my wings. I was ready to spread my wings, and I was ready to see what else I can actually do, but more often really see how aspects of my life were no longer in alignment of who I was becoming. And so if you are starting to really kind of get the itch and understand that there's more to this thing called this career, that I just don't know if I am actually going to be in this thing for the next 3 or 5 or 10 years. You want to be able to ask yourself and do an audit for where you are right now. And this audit should look like, and this is kind of one of the things that I did early on, but I had to ask myself and sit with this discomfort of, is this where I want to be 3 years from now? And sometimes I'll even go 5 years. And back then, and sometimes, we only live in the moment, the day to day, that we're like, oh my gosh, it's too scary to think 3 years from now. Oh, it's too scary to think 12 months from now. But here's the secret: we've got to be able to plan forward. If you are somebody, or if you're with somebody that is only last minute and so last minute because they are so afraid of what can happen, we have to imagine the bigger possibility. We have to imagine and allow ourselves to perhaps dream a little bit. We dreamt at some point that one day, if you were the traditional kind of daughter of an immigrant, that one day we would get married. One day we would have children. One day we will get that trophy of whatever scholastic achievement that we wanted to get. So, why can't we now dream even bigger? What else can I do? What else am I meant for? If you are in the season and stage where you are a mama, and the idea of being with your family is so much juicier because you are now asking a different question. How do I have more freedom and more time to be with my kids, to be with my family, to travel, to ask, what does a meaningful life look like? Back in my 20s, I think the biggest game for me was, how can I get to be a seven-figure entrepreneur? That was the biggest question for me. I want to get to seven figures. I want to get to seven figures. And I think there was this chip on my shoulder because I had so many of my peers who were male, who were dentists, and who probably didn't see a female not only purchasing a practice. I didn't have many role models at the time. I was probably one of the few females in my class that too graduated from dental school, but also then decided on a whim that she wanted to outright buy her own practice. And while that was a naive decision, it was also a bold decision because I also had big shoes to fill. I purchased my practice from a seasoned dentist who was at least 30 years my senior. He was in his 60s. I was barely in my 20s, barely in my 30s. I was in my late 20s. And boy, was there chips that were on my shoulder that I wanted to prove. And so money became a numbers game for me. My practice became really that. It was so goal oriented. And I think that for a lot of us, we have such a drive in our early years. We have this drive either to prove somebody wrong, and there's no harm in that. We have something that motivates us externally, internally. The other thing that was a big motivator for me was I had lost my parents early on. So I wanted to, in many ways, spiritually make them proud. And I know that they are my guides. They are my angels. They are kind of like sitting with me as Tinkerbell would over Peter Pan. They have been my guides for a very, very long time. And now I trust that so much. And that's been a huge part of my spiritual practice. And they were with me when I had the calling. I sat in a ceremony. It was a very sacred ceremony. And I sat in a ceremony. And I remember the third day of this spiritual retreat, I remember just sitting there with my parents, and they were wearing white, and they were so excited and so happy for me. And in this vision that I had, it was almost like, go Neeta, you're ready to do big things. You don't need to have to know the answer to everything. Just go and do it. They were so excited. They were so happy. And I think for me, the thing that I was so afraid of was the fact that, oh wait, am I going to suck at this? Am I going to fail? What am I really doing? Because I'm giving up safety and security for this very non-traditional, non-linear path that who knows where it's going. You could fail at any point in time. But the fact that I had them cheering me on, like my cheering squad, I mean, it was just the most beautiful vision. And I was just like, tears were just like kind of coming down my face. And I was like, I guess this this was the validation I've always wanted. So whether I've dreamt this, whether it was a reality, or whether this was something that I imagined, that this was the closure that I need, and also the door opener that I needed for myself to say, all right, yeah, let's start doing life on my terms. And I had to overcome a ton of different variables, a ton of different roadblocks, if you will. And because the thing is everyone wants you, who loves you, who's in your inner circle, who's in your family, who's in your culture or your subculture of the closest people to you, they want you to stay safe. They want you to do what they know to be a safe. And they may not know what else is out there because they never lived life for themselves. So they might be pushing you into that proverbial box because they don't want you to get hurt. And you have to ask yourself a different question of, okay, I trust that I have all the knowledge and it's actually okay if I fail because my failure is just a data point. But who do I want to be when I'm on the other side of that? And the courage to redefine that process means that you might have to leave people, ideas, businesses, corporations, companies behind, that you have to be able to grieve the death of ideas, relationships, dreams that you once thought was going to be the thing, was going to be that end for you. And instead of thinking that it's a death, thinking that we can reframe that to be in more alignment of the path that we want to walk in now. And that's only defined by you. It's not defined by, okay, everyone else is trying to, get to seven figures, so I'm going to try to do that. In my 30s, it was all about really expressing my voice, really expressing my truth, and to be, to write 3 books and to chart my dream career, being able to travel and find the love of my life and live in 33 different cities with him within 17 months and then start a family. That was just dreams behind my wildest dreams ever. And was that a big success for me? Absolutely. That I was able to do that, and I was able to teach people how to live pretty much their Dharma on their terms, and really school people on what their Dharma could look like and how to break free from the shackles of what other people tend to impose on you. And now I get to do this every day in a different way. And now in my 40s, as I'm starting to really see the family that we've built, that we've laid roots in this particular city, and that I can end my day and have the freedom and flexibility to do what I love and share some of the things that I love and share some of the tips and the pitfalls. So you don't have to go through all of the crazy big leaps in the valleys and all of those things, because now maybe you can trust yourself to take that leap. Maybe you can trust yourself to be brave, to ask, okay, what do I really want right now? Is this my season of this go-getter era? Or is this my season of the supportive era? Or is this my season of this mothering era? Or is this my season of my creative era? This year, many of you know that I started a bunch of different creative pursuits. Many of you know I've been talking about chai. I'm starting my own chai company. It's in the works. It's in the process. I will share all of it and spill the chai on all of it when it's fully ready, but it's almost there because of my love for chai. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't really know and understand what my Dharma has been and what my Dharma always has been. And nowadays, we've never been in a more creative season in life where we can create and monetize a life that we are meant to live, that acknowledges our creative pursuits. If you are somebody that has, and there are pretty much six ways to do it that we teach in Highest Self Institute. The first way is one-on-one coaching. We have certified over 2,000 people now across almost 8 cohorts. And we have several different certifications that help you in whether you're healing track, whether you want to get more embodied and actually give yourself permission to feel and express and emote, or if you are one that is already desiring to create a business from what you're already doing, giving advice to people as a friend, as that mom, as that human, as that advisor, whether it's in your company, in your family support system, in your community, in your friends group, in your girlfriends group. You have, number one-on-one coaching that you can actually do right now today. The courage to redefine you. And mamas, you know this as a fact because as mamas, it brings us immense joy, but it can also spark this desire for change, especially in our careers when we enter motherhood. Like we want to all of a sudden have more time with our kids. We want to all of a sudden start all of these creative pursuits. Why? Because our second chakra is open, our sacral chakra. We're not having babies, then we're probably going to have book babies or business babies. We are so wide open to express and create. And there's never been a more beautiful time now to create on the internet. And you can do this one-on-one coaching. You could do this with teaching one-to-many. If you have an idea of inspiring other people because you have a methodology, let's just say you were a yoga teacher, but you want to teach other yoga teachers how to do a specific thing or how to go into corporations, you can actually host a webinar. You can actually have them come to an event that you're doing. And maybe they pay $30 to come or $50 to come or $100 to come. It could be an event. It can be retreats. You all know that we've done several different events. I'm a big believer of retreats. I love creating experiential experiences for people. If that is you and you want to collab with close people in your life, why not? Why not do that? Why not do more of that? And if you're also combining this with exploring the world, oh, guess what? You can do that now. That is something that we teach in our institute, our Highest Self Institute, where we have our 6-month container to become a certified Dharma coach. And we teach you all about one-on-one coaching. We teach you all about one-to-many coaching. We teach you all about retreats as well as, well, podcasting. I cannot believe it. I have done over 250 podcasts now in less than 3 years. We are now 1% of all podcasts. And our reach has grown to over 500,000 just in YouTube alone over the last few years. And it is mind-boggling that we are top 50 in mental health and in relationships. This is something that you can actually do. If you have this gift of pouring into other people, this is something that you can actually do. It can be in your fingertips. And lastly, writing books. I never thought in a million years that I could actually be an author, ever, ever, ever. And which is why one of the things that I'm so proud about is creating the institute that I wish I had, the school that I wish I had growing up, the school that I wish I had that didn't really talk about emotions or embodiment or living life on my terms, finding out what my Dharma is. We actually teach you how to discover your Dharma and how your innate gifts can actually be the keys to your freedom, can actually be the keys to unlocking what you are meant to be doing in this next chapter. And so if you are curious to know more, our doors are wide open at Highest Self Institute, where we are going to teach you with our signature program, our Dharma Coaching Institute program, how to be a certified Dharma coach. And in 6 months, we go into whether you are at an intersection, whether you are in a crossroads, whether you are asking yourself, can I do something different? I'll tell you, so many of the moms that have graduated our program, they love balancing motherhood with a fulfilling career because never before were they ever given the opportunity to actually coach because you're coaching your little ones. But now you can actually take the leap. They build their lives that are inspiring, that are meaningful, that are having so much more fulfillment. They have more joy and this joie de vivre, this zest for life that they are hosting women's circles. They are creating ripple effects. They are creating impact. And for those of you who have had the white coat for a while and you want to break free, I get tons and tons of messages and DMs from doctors, from dentists. How did you do it? How did you go about realizing that making the millions wasn't it? How did you go about living the life that you love without being chained, the proverbial golden handcuffs? Because when you reach that level of success, you're like, okay, and what? And what else? And what else? And what else? At the end of the day, we all want to be free, but at the end of the day, we all want to do something meaningful. The percentage of younger millennials and Gen Zers who only work because they feel like they're contributing to a higher purpose or a higher cause, they are only making decisions based on their Dharma, has been more than ever before. Why is that? Because we all want to belong. We all want to do something that is going to shift our world for the better. Maybe the better of the planet, maybe the better of our communities at large, maybe the better of our families. Maybe now that as you're a mama, you're like, I just want to be there for my kids. I want to be there to homeschool them. I want to be there to travel the world with them. I want to just have more time. How do I have more time with them? So why don't we start to redefine what success looks like behind the doctor's room or behind the office and step into a life that you could never imagine? Why? Because you're now doing life on your terms. So I invite you to this special invitation where we will teach you how to become a soul purpose coach, help people step into their best and most fulfilling careers that are aligned with their innate gifts, that are aligned with their gifts to inspire, that are aligned with their gifts to express from their truth, that are aligned from their gifts to support, nurture, and nourish those parts of ourselves. And if you're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to actually build a career on this, but I'm curious about creating a community. I'm curious about how do I actually find other like-minded people, because motherhood sometimes can be really, really lonely. We have a multitude and a plethora of people in every single cohort that become best friends, that have and develop relationships that last a lifetime, that go into businesses with each other, that find and create partnerships that's built out of just like-mindedness. And you can only go so far by yourself, but you can go massive mounds and leap quantums when you are going at it with others. And so this is my invitation. If this is your calling, if this has resonated with you, or maybe you know somebody that this could potentially resonate with, go ahead and share this episode with them. I will link the link in the show notes, but you can also go to neetabhushan.com/Dharma, and it'll take you to a specific link to check it out if it's for you. We have our team of discovery coaches that are on site and that can see if this is actually for you and see if this is something that you would love to have as either a gift to give to yourself for your own transformation, for your walk in the next chapter of who you're becoming, or to actually make this into a career, because there are so many ways to optimize your gifts within the freedom of your own time and the freedom of your own home. And we've been able to do this for now thousands of students. And I'm so grateful that every year when we open up our doors, it is one of the most magical opportunities. And so this is what a gift it is that we get to now create from the magical moments that we get to have. So if this is for you, go ahead, and I would love to see you there. And would love for you to share this with a friend, a family member, and let us know if you're a graduate of DCI or at Highest Self Institute. And if you're listening to this, let everybody know what you've been through. Let everybody know what you've loved about the program. Let everybody know how it's really shifted your life and how it's just such a beautiful community. If you have ever wanted to be part of an inside group, this is the only group where I actually coach. I don't do any personalized coaching anymore. And if you want to go deeper inside into how we could actually work together, this is one of the ways that I offer this up. And it's such a sacred place in my heart. So without further ado, I will leave that all in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let us know what was the favorite part of this. Has it inspired you in any way? Has it inspired you to think differently? Has it inspired you to change your perspective on life and maybe even reevaluate what you're thinking now in the season and stage and era of your life? Because that was such a game changer for me long ago when I wasn't listening to the noise anymore. I didn't care to build such a kind of monetary fueled business. I was more so thinking about how can I create more profits in the business I'm building? How can I reduce the amount of expenses, but actually still have more meaning and invest in some of the things that I love to do, and investing and pouring into the Brave Table week after week, and spilling the chai on some of the things that I'm working on and some of the things that make us human, that we get to fumble, we get to fall, we get to say that sucked, now what? And I just couldn't be more proud of this community that we've created. So if you are new to this, if somebody brought you here, I would so love if you could hit subscribe so that you don't miss a beat, as well as if you're listening to this on iTunes and or Spotify, if you could just hit that follow button. It helps us grow the show more than you know. Drop us a comment below, tag us at the Brave Table on Instagram or at Neeta Bhushan. We would so love to know what you are braving in this moment, and if this episode has helped you in any way, we'd love to know that too. So I will see you soon. Don't forget to be just a little bit more brave in your actions, in your relationships, and in your life. And I'll see you next time. Have a great day, week, and I'll see you soon.